Hey everyone, stick around to the end and I'll tell you exactly how much this fix might cost, because you're going to want to know. If your Jeep or Chrysler's AC just isn't getting cold, you know the feeling. It's that slow, creeping dread as the summer heat builds, and your vents are only pushing out lukewarm, stale air. It's miserable, especially when you're stuck in traffic on a scorching day. So you do the right thing, you take it to the shop, expecting a straightforward diagnosis and a quick fix. But what happens when the mechanic calls you back, scratching their head, and tells you they can't find the leak? It's an incredibly frustrating scenario that plays out in service bays far more often than you'd think. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most common yet sneakiest air conditioning problems plaguing these vehicles, a problem that leaves both owners and technicians stumped. The symptom is almost always the same. Your AC blows warm, or maybe just coolish, but definitely not the icy cold it should be. It's not a sudden, catastrophic failure. It's a slow, insidious decline in performance over weeks or even months. You might notice it takes longer and longer to cool the cabin down. A quick check with a set of gauges confirms your suspicion. The system is low on refrigerant, so the technician gets to work, following the standard playbook. They inject a fluorescent UV dye into the system and let it circulate. They pull out the electronic sniffer, a sensitive tool designed to detect escaping refrigerant gas. They meticulously scan every connection, every hose, and the face of the condenser. But when they put on the yellow glasses and shine the UV light, there's nothing. No telltale glowing green splatter. The sniffer remains stubbornly silent, with no beeping to indicate a leak at the compressor seals or line fittings. Sound familiar? This is the heart of the problem. The leak is so incredibly slow, releasing refrigerant molecules so gradually that these conventional tools simply can't register it. The minuscule amount of dye that might escape gets trapped and hidden under the service port cap, or it gets washed away by a single car wash or rainstorm long before it accumulates enough to be visible. It's the perfect automotive mystery, leaving you with a bill for diagnostic time and no solution. But here's the thing, it's not a mystery to the manufacturer. While many independent shops might be stumped, there's a specific communication from FCA, now Stellantis, that addresses this exact issue. Now it's crucial to understand what this document is and what it isn't. This is not a safety recall, so you won't get a letter in the mail. It's not even an official technical service bulletin or TSB, which are widely distributed to address common problems. Instead, it's what's known as a star case note. Think of it as an internal, high-level memo passed down from the engineers directly to dealership technicians. It's a pro tip from the people who designed the system, giving them guidance on tricky, non-obvious diagnostic problems that standard procedures are likely to miss. This note is a shortcut, designed to help dealership service departments pinpoint these bizarre AC leaks that don't show up on normal tests, saving them, and the customer, from racking up hours of fruitless diagnostic time. So what's the secret hidden in this note? It's a brilliantly simple, focused test that targets the AC service ports. These are the two access points, one on the high-pressure line and one on the low-pressure line, where technicians connect their gauges for service. The procedure is straightforward. First, the technician removes the protective cap from the high-side service port. Then, they add a few drops of clean POE oil directly into the port housing, creating a small pool right around the valve stem. They repeat the exact same process on the low-side service port. This specific oil is compatible with the refrigerant and won't harm the system. Its only purpose here is to act as a visual indicator, a trap for any escaping gas. Next, they start the vehicle and crank the AC to max cool with the blower fan on its highest setting. They let it run for about 5 minutes. This is a critical step because it gets the compressor running at full tilt, building maximum pressure in the high side of the system, sometimes over 200 psi, which is essential for forcing the leak to reveal itself. After 5 minutes, they shut the engine off and carefully inspect the two service ports where the oil was added, often using a flashlight for a clear view. And there it is. If you see tiny champagne-like bubbles forming in the pool of oil, that's the smoking gun. It's definitive proof of a slow leak right at the Schrader valve inside the service port. This tiny valve is mechanically very similar to the one on your car's tires. It's a spring-loaded seal that's designed to remain perfectly sealed under hundreds of pounds of pressure, only opening when a service machine's hose is depressed upon it. But over thousands of miles and countless heat cycles, the rubber O-rings and seals inside this valve can degrade, harden, and lose their pliability. The constant engine vibration doesn't help either. Eventually, it can no longer hold a perfect seal, causing this tiny, incredibly slow but persistent leak. And we're not just talking hypothetically here. This isn't some rare one-in-a-million problem. A quick dive into any Jeep or Chrysler owner forum reveals just how widespread this issue is. We found countless threads from frustrated owners describing this exact scenario. Let's look at a post from a user named JeepLife88. He writes, "My 2018 Grand Cherokee's AC has been weak for a year. I've had it recharged twice at 2 different shops. Both said they put dye in and couldn't find a leak anywhere. One guy wanted to start replacing the condenser for $900. I'm at my wit's end." This is a classic story. The system is recharged, it works for a few months, and then slowly fades back to warm. Because a standard leak test shows nothing, some shops start guessing, suggesting the replacement of expensive components like the condenser or evaporator, hoping to get lucky. Here's another one from Durango Mom about her 2019 model. "The dealer told me there was no leak. They said it's normal for these systems to lose a little refrigerant over time. I paid $180 for a diagnostic and recharge, and now, 6 months later, it's blowing warm again. It feels like I'm just throwing money away." This normal seepage explanation is a huge red flag. A properly sealed AC system is a closed loop. It should not lose a noticeable amount of refrigerant ever. This is often what a technician says when they simply can't find the source of the leak. But then you find the success stories. A user named Ram Tough Guy finally found the solution. "After 3 years of this nonsense, I found a forum talking about the service port valves. I told my new mechanic about the bubble test. He was skeptical but did it anyway. Sure enough, the high side port was bubbling like crazy. He replaced the whole AC line and it's been ice cold for over a year. Problem finally solved." These stories all paint the same picture. A slow, mystery leak, multiple failed diagnostic attempts, and finally, a solution that was hiding in plain sight the whole time. So once the bubble test confirms the leak, what's the official fix? The manufacturer's procedure calls for replacing the entire AC line assembly that contains the faulty port. They do this because the valve is often integrated permanently into the line, and replacing the whole component is a guaranteed long-term repair. However, some independent shops might offer a more budget-friendly alternative, replacing just the Schrader valve core itself. This is done with a special tool that can remove and install the core while the system is still under pressure, saving time and money. It's important to note that not all AC lines are designed for this service, but it's absolutely worth asking your mechanic if it's a viable option for your specific vehicle. So let's get to the bottom line you've been waiting for. What does it cost to fix this properly? If you go the official route and have the entire AC line replaced at a dealership or reputable shop, you can typically expect to pay somewhere between $250 and $600. Now, why such a wide range? A big chunk of that is the cost of the new line assembly itself. These aren't just simple rubber hoses. They are often complex pre-bent aluminum tubes with specific fittings, and the OEM part can be surprisingly expensive. The rest of the cost is the significant labor involved, which is much more than just unbolting an old part and bolting on a new one. The procedure is meticulous. First, a technician must use an expensive recovery machine to safely and legally remove all the old refrigerant from the system. Then, they physically swap the line, which can sometimes require removing other components to gain access. After the new line is installed, they must pull the system into a deep vacuum for at least 30 to 45 minutes. This crucial step boils off any moisture that entered the system while it was open, preventing corrosion and future damage. Finally, they use a charging station to precisely refill the system with the exact weight of new refrigerant and the correct type and amount of oil specified by the manufacturer. The final price will depend heavily on your specific model, the cost of the part, and your local shop's labor rates. So while you should always get a specific quote, that $250 to $600 range is a solid ballpark for your budget. Now you're armed with the specific knowledge to help solve this incredibly frustrating problem. You're no longer at the mercy of a mystery leak. You can walk into your repair shop with confidence and suggest they perform this simple 5-minute bubble test on the service ports before they start quoting you for expensive parts you might not need. Don't let them just top it off. Insist on finding the leak. If this video helped you out or saved you from a costly misdiagnosis, please give it a like and definitely comment below with your own experience. We'd love to hear your story. And be sure to subscribe for more straight answers to tricky car problems. Thanks for watching. Reference NHTSA ID 102220891, FCAS 2124000004, Star Communication, not a recall or formal TSB.